If you're interested in learning how to budget and set yourself up for success financially in 2025, then keep watching this video. I'm gonna be honest, I'm no financial expert, nor do I have a master's in finance. Anything that I say in this video is gonna be my personal opinion and experiences based on all the knowledge that I've acquired and everything I've learned for the past couple of years when it comes to budgeting and managing finances. One thing that has been super beneficial for me is not having to worry about where my money goes, either that being income, expenses, bills, loans. I don't have to worry about any of that because I started budgeting about almost 3 years now, and it's definitely been the best thing that I've done. I wish I would have done it earlier, even in my college journey or my college years, because then I would have had years of experience and already good habits built. That doesn't mean that you can't build good habits in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and so far so on. But it's good to start early. And every video that I watch on YouTube and social media and articles that I read, they always talk about starting early and starting as soon as you can with investing, budgeting, managing finances, and all that. But to keep everything simplified and just focus on starting, which is the thing that we all get caught up on, even with YouTube, even with our health and wellness, our nutrition, everything in life. You don't have to overwhelm yourself. Just start by doing something. And that something for me has been budgeting. So in 2022, when I moved from Puerto Rico, which is where I'm from, born and raised in Puerto Rico, I was in college for 5 years at Iowa State, moved back to Puerto Rico. Then I had a job opportunity and then moved over here to Minnesota. Now I've been here in Minnesota for it'll be about 3 years it'll be 3 years in May. That's when I started to be more exposed and learn more about how to manage finances and budgeting. And I came across this video of this creator. I've been trying to find it because I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, but for some reason I can't find this creator's video. And she was doing like a monthly budget routine, and she had this beautiful template spreadsheet that was super helpful to manage everything from your loans, your debts, your investments, your expenses, your income, anything, bills, anything was encaptured in a spreadsheet that was already created. You don't have to do anything crazy. It costs some money. I think it was like $20 to $30. And I'm gonna put the link down below in the description, so if you're interested and don't know where to start, you can already have a template laid out for you. And that way you can start playing around with it and see what works best for you based on your needs, your circumstances, and your financial goals. I don't know if you're like me, but I'm a visual person. So in order for me to teach, in order for me to show you how I've been able to manage my finances and budgeting, I gotta do, we gotta see it. We gotta see it to believe it, as they say. So what I'll do with you guys is I'm gonna show you what the template looked like. And once again, this is not my template. This is something that I purchased back in 2022, and I've used it ever since, and has been something that pretty much every day, or at least every day I make a purchase, I'm constantly checking and constantly inputting my incomes, my bills, my expenses, how much loans I have, and all that. And it keeps it organized. And I'm very organized when it comes to finances. I got to do a better job at budgeting, but that's what this video is for, so that we can both learn as we go. So I'm gonna share my screen so you guys can see what I'm seeing. And I'm gonna give you like a quick walkthrough. I'm not gonna make this video like an hour long or 40 minutes. I'm gonna do as concise as I can to show you what the spreadsheet is about. And this is not the only spreadsheet that's out there. This is just the one that I purchased and I found useful over the past 3 years. You can find whatever, you can type in budget. This one's from Etsy, but you can type budget and there's plenty of templates. It saves you time. It's an investment towards yourself to buy this, so that way you don't have to create one or feel overwhelmed to create one. You already have one, and you can learn and figure it out and implement it on your daily life. All right, so what you guys are seeing right here is what it was called, the Ultimate Annual Budget Template. I rephrased it in my first 2 years. I called it Jonathan's Ultimate Cash Flow. I just thought it'd be something more personal that I would look at it and was like, this is mine. instead of just being a general name. So you can get creative and name it however you'd like. You can do it, you know, your cash flow, your, you know, whatever the case may be. But this is the template. For this one particular, as you guys can see on the left hand side, there's different categories. So there's an annual dashboard, net worth, trackers, calendar, and then all the months from January through December. And this is pretty much a page where it literally shows you how, like, what the template is by category, and it gives you like a summary of each category. And so you're not only getting a template, you're also getting explanations to the different categories, to, you know, the annual dashboard. What is the annual dashboard? What is the net worth? What is the trackers tab? And all these things that are going to help you better understand what this is about, and then you can set the foundation based on however it works best for you. So for the purpose of this video and keeping it short and sweet, we're gonna go to the trackers section. So the trackers section, think about the trackers section as the data entry part of the template. This is where the formulas are automated, and everything is automated based on this tab, the trackers tab. So in the trackers, you'll see there's a savings tracker, you know, table. There's an investment tracker, bill tracker, debt tracker, and those are pretty much the different categories when it comes to the tracking. Here is where you input. So we're gonna go, to keep it short and sweet, we're gonna go to the bill tracker category. And just so you guys can see and relate, because a lot of people, especially if you're in college or in entering your professional life, you're going to be paying rent, you're going to be paying some sort of Wi-Fi or internet, probably a phone bill, utility bill. Let's put here utility bill. I don't know what else you might have, but let's just keep it rent, internet or Wi-Fi, phone, and utility. So you can do those as your bills for your spreadsheet. Then here you have different cycles that you can create. It could be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, based on those. I don't put them here because I know in my head I gotta pay rent, I gotta pay Wi-Fi every month. So, but this is where you would see everything laid out by month once you start actually using the monthly tab. So we're gonna keep those four: rent, internet, phone, and utilities as our main bill tracker categories. Investments, I'm gonna switch and put 401k because that's something that every paycheck I take a percentage of my paycheck and put it on the 401k. So if you don't know about 401k, highly encourage you to look into it, especially if you get a new job. Ask them what are the benefits when it comes to 401k. A lot of companies match up to 4 or 8%, I believe. I might be wrong, but I think it's 4%, up to 4% of your, pretty much, how do I say this? 401, they match up to 4% of your contribution. That's what I wanted to say. They match up to 4% of the contribution. Some places it's 3%, 2%. Whatever company is, make sure that you're looking and asking them what the benefits are, especially when it comes to 401k, which is for your retirement fund. Because I'm learning, as I mentioned, and I'm growing, I haven't touched crypto, I haven't touched stocks or Roth IRA, but for the sake of it, let's just put Roth IRA here so that you can see it once we go into a specific month. Then when it comes to savings tracker, you can have long-term savings or sinking funds. So long-term savings, as you see here, is an emergency fund, a house, a car, some of those big, expensive. It could be a vacation trip, it could be wedding, things of that nature. So those would go in long-term savings. Also sinking funds. Sinking funds may be something that is just a one-time thing, maybe a birthday, maybe you're trying to save up to buy a camera or film equipment like I'm doing, vacation, holiday, you're going to a hotel or whatever the case may be. Something that's more short-term, those what the sinking funds are. So I'm gonna keep these three here so far. birthday, Christmas gift, and vacation, just so you guys can have an idea of what that looks like. And we're gonna go to a month. Let's pick March. So the numbers that I'm gonna put on here are not my numbers, but some general numbers just so you can have an idea of how to do this, and it makes it easier for you to understand. So this right here is the March tab. So there's tabs for each month. This helps you keep track of your income, your bills, your expenses, your debt, your savings, investment, and expense tracker. So all the trackers that you saw in the previous page, which was the trackers page, all of those are gonna be in the different tables that are right here. So income, let's say you have a job. Let's put here job, and you get paid twice a month. Let's put job 1, job. Actually, let's put paycheck number 2 to make it easier to understand. Paycheck 1, paycheck 2. Date, you can put the date that you get paid for reference. And this, the expected or the budget columns are ones that you can budget. So that's where this here, I'm doing a lot of extensive like reflection and introspective thought on budgeting, because I've been good at managing my finances and budgeting, but not to a specific dollar amount where I say groceries are only gonna be $200. That's gonna be my budget for this month. That's something that I want to do this year. So I highly encourage you guys to try it out as well. All right, so let's say you got your job, your paycheck 1 and 2, because you get paid bi-weekly, and let's say the expected income that you get out of each paycheck is $1,400. I say $1,400 is what it's expected, and let's say you actually get $1,400 for each paycheck. So you can see right here at the top, this is a kind of like a summary of all this that you're seeing here. So you have your bills, which are right here, your expenses, which are right here, your savings, which are in this column, investments here, and then debt here. So these are individual tables, and then this is the summary for that entire month. So as you put incomes right here in this table, you'll see them reflected right here in the total income line, and that's why it says total remaining, because there's already formulas in place to subtract based on everything that you put in, or add based on the income that you put in your spreadsheet. So we already have the income. You get paid bi-weekly, so 2 times in a month. You get paid $1,400. Now let's go to the bills category. So you gotta pay rent, you gotta pay internet or Wi-Fi, you gotta pay your phone, you gotta pay your utilities. So you put all these here, and also one thing to know is you can get creative and change colors. This is not the color that I use, this is just the general one that comes with the template. But you can get creative with the font, the color, and all those things. For the purpose to keep this video short and sweet, we're just gonna use the template as it comes. But yeah, so you have your rent. Let's say your rent might be $1,000 in a month. Your internet will be like $50. Your phone bill could be $40, and then utilities might be $75, just for the sake of it, right? So you can put the due dates here. You can double click and it'll show you the months. Let's say this is due on the 1st of April, and we can just say the same for all of them. Wait, let me just copy and paste. All right, let's say all of them are due April 1st, or the next month. So this is your March budget, but your rent is due on the 1st of the next month. So you have that already. Then you have these check boxes right here. So I use these. As soon as I paid off my entire rent, I check it, and that way I know rent is already paid for and I don't have to pay anything else. So you have your rents, you have how much you budgeted, so the rent is gonna be $1,000 every month, and then the actual is what you actually pay for it. This is where once you start paying, let's say if you decide to split your rent in 2 paychecks and you put $500 for each paycheck, then let's say you got paid your first paycheck $500, and that shows you how much bills have you paid, and how much you have left. So the budget will be how much you need to pay for rent, and the actual is how much you've paid so far. So for the sake of it, let's just take this second paycheck, so that way you can see. So here, right here at the top, you can see the total remaining of your account. So how much money you have left after you pay your $500 for the first paycheck. Let's say if you decide to pay the internet and phone on this same bill, that way you can have it already paid for and not have to worry about the next paycheck. But you want to keep utilities for the following paycheck, so you're not gonna, put anything here. As far as debts, let's say you have a personal loan, student loan, or a car loan. This is where, let me go back here. This is where you can put how much personal loans you pay. Let's say you pay $200 a month in personal loans. Let's say 100 in student loans a month, and then your car payment is $250. And you can put your car payment as a bill or as a debt, whichever works best for you. It's pretty much the same. And that way you can keep track of all that. So this will be the amounts that you would need to pay if you already have a fixed amount that you pay for your loans, your personal, your student loans, your car loans. You can keep them here, and then once you pay them off, or depending on how you pay them, then you can add them here in the actual category. So savings, sinking funds. So let's say we have the emergency fund, which is something that my partner and I are working on, having an emergency fund or an account where if anything happens to the car, or if anything happens health-wise, or any of those emergencies that may pop up randomly. We've been blessed that we haven't had that issue yet, but we're not gonna wait until the issue happens to get ready. We're gonna stay ready instead of getting, we're gonna be ready so that when the time comes, we don't have to get ready. So we can put, let's say monthly, we can put 300 on the emergency fund. And then for sinking fund, let's say your birthday's coming up. My birthday's April 2nd, so this is March. Let's say my April, I want to budget $100 for my for a gift. And you can see as soon as you start budgeting and putting numbers in the budget category, look at the summary, your amount will start to decrease. So this is the amount that you have remaining based on the budget. This is the actual number, or the actual amount that you have. Because you might budget something, but that doesn't mean that you're necessarily gonna actually actually spend all that amount that you budgeted. Maybe you spend less, maybe you spend more, but that just helps keep track of it. So when it comes to, when I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video that I track pretty much every time I make a purchase, or weekly, this is pretty much what I use. So let's say I went to, for the sake of it, let's go March, let's say March 5th. And the categories, these are the categories that it comes general, but you can switch based on how you want to switch them. Instead of health, because you don't have anything health-wise, you can do subscriptions. So you can just change it right here in the expense summary. And then that way, once you click here, it'll auto-populate and it'll have a subscription category. So this is where you would put your expense summary. So these categories that you alter here are gonna auto-populate here as the categories in your expense tracker. So for the sake of it, let's say me and my partner went to eat out at McDonald's. I would put McDonald's dinner, and then let's say it was $25.80. I put it here, and as soon as I put something here in the amount, you'll see this actual amount will be reflected as what I have left in my account after all the expenses that I've had. And this is pretty much how I keep track of everything. Subscriptions, eating out, groceries, any personal things, any shopping, I keep it in check here. The good thing about these categories is that whatever category you place on here is whatever category the money will be reflected in the expense summary table. So let's say I switch it to personal, you see that was $25 that are right here and 80 cents from McDonald's that are gonna go to personal. So because it's eating out, I just have it in the eating out table. That way, in this expense summary, you can see how much you spend based on category: groceries, eating out, shopping, subscriptions, etc. And from there you can see, oh, maybe I gotta cut it down because the past 3 months I've been spending a lot eating out, like I've had in the past. Then you can be like, all right, I gotta fine tune why that is happening. If it's laziness of not wanting to cook or meal prep, if it just special occasions, like I went to a basketball game, then we ended up buying food there. Or if we're doing date night and me and my partner go out to eat for a date night, then those are exceptions. And that's something that you can keep track of. I'm as descriptive as possible when it comes to the expense tracker, because that allows you to know what specifically you spent the money on. Let's do another one. Let's say the next day I went to do groceries. I don't know where you guys do groceries: Walmart, Costco, Sam's, Target, Whole Foods, Cub, Hy-Vee, wherever you are, Econo, if you're back home in Puerto Rico, Pueblo, whatever grocery store you use, you can just put the name. So I say Target, let's say Target. And I would say, because I know that this purchase was groceries, I'm not gonna put groceries as well, because I already know it's groceries, Target, and let's say me and my partner spent $240, which that's not the case. Maybe it is sometimes. But that way you can see, boom, in the expense summary, you see those $240 reflected right here, and that way you can keep track that this month of March, you spent $240 in groceries. And that's pretty much this is what I do. And then every month I keep track of it for the next month. And one thing that I do, because these months are individual tabs, so what I do, and this is something that is not necessarily in the template, but something that I've learned how to do, because in college I had a class where we had to deal with computer science and how to do spreadsheets and finance using spreadsheets and formulas. So one thing that I do is, let's say, which this is not gonna be the case, let's say after you paid everything, let's say you already paid 75, you already pay your personal loan of 200, your student loan of 100, and then 250 in already get paid again. You pay your utilities and everything, and you didn't end up spending nothing. You have, let me see, a birthday, or I buy myself something, I put 300 in the emergency fund. This is the total amount that's left over in the account, $919.20. What I do is that in order to connect each month, because there's gonna be months that maybe you have leftover money and you wanna make sure that you use that as income in your next month. So in this case, let's say for April, let's have these right here as your job and everything, your income. And this is something that I use an Apple Mac, like a MacBook. So it's easier for me to do Command C, and that's how you copy and paste. Saves you a lot of time. You copy everything, Command Shift, bam, Command C is the shortcut. So you have that, but see how the money that you had left over in the past month doesn't appear in this month? So what I do is I hit the equal button in my keyboard, or my keyboard thing in my MacBook. Then I go click back into the month of March, or the previous month, and then I click here. What that'll do is that the cell in the month of April will equal that amount, and when I hit enter, then that amount will be reflected here as income, and it'll appear automatically here. So I use this top line as rollover amount. So I'll write March rollover. That way I know that in the month of March there was $919.20 that I had left over that are now gonna be used in the month of April. And then from there you can go about your month based on how much you got paid, how much rent, in this case, how much your utilities are, which are the one bill in here that I use as a kind of mock bill that fluctuates because rent, internet, and phone bill are pretty much the same recurring amount, but utilities fluctuate depending on the usage. So you can change that however that month, and then you can change also the due date or on when that is due, and you can put May. Boom. And this shortcut is once again Command C. Saves you a lot of time. You don't have to type anything. Just Command C, copy and paste. And then Command V will be paste. Command C, copy, Command V, paste. And then you continue about your month. If you have a subscription, let's say Spotify, you put, once again, because these are individual tabs, you gotta make sure that, for example, the expense summary, you go here and put subscription, so that way you can see that reflected in the expense tracker. So let's say you get charged Spotify every month for $13. That way you can put it there. Another thing that I do is that, let's say you already know every month you pay the same amount in Spotify. Because you don't want it to be reflected and take it out of your actual account that you have, your amount, I put the amount next to it here. So that way once it gets charged, let's say on the 10th of the month, it gets charged to your account, then you can actually put it in the amount category, because then it'll take it out of your total amount. So that way you can keep track of how much you're paying for Spotify without having to get lost or, oh, where are these $13 coming from? And you have a disparity between this amount that you see right here and the one that you see reflected in your bank account. So that's something that I constantly am checking. And there's been in the past months that I had to go item by item in my bank account to see and make sure that I have everything here, because the number that I have in my bank account should equal the amount that I have right here, and that's how I keep track of everything pretty much. And it's been helpful to see visually by category, by bills, how much I spend, how much I make, how much debt I'm getting paid. And the annual dashboard, which I'm gonna kind of talk briefly about, this is the white lens. Think about each month being like this, like the close-up. The annual dashboard is the white lens, where you would see everything summarized by month, by category, how much income you had each month, how much income you had on the entire year, how much expenses you had each month, how much you had each year. And that way you can see how much you're making, paying for debt and other things. And then you have this table right here where you can put your financial goals, if that's something that you do. I don't necessarily use it, but however, this year, talking about how to set up myself for success financially in 2025, I'm working with SMART goals, doing something where I can have a proactive goal that is realistic and something that is tangible, like a number, instead of, I'm gonna save, because I'm gonna save is general. No, be specific. Understand, like, you wanna save $10,000 in a year. That way you know, all right, $10,000, you gotta break that down by 12, and then go from there. Or if your goal is to, I don't know, buy a car, then you can do save 20%. I don't know, if a car is $30,000, you can be like, all right, my goal is for this year to save $10,000, so that way I can have a down payment on the car and not have to worry about having to pay a big amount each month for the remaining period that I have to pay for the car. So net worth is one that I haven't touched at all, but it's good to have, so in case you have crypto, in case you have stocks and other things like that, you can play around and see how it works for you. I'm not very knowledgeable about net worth, and at this point in my life at 26, I don't really care about net worth. I'm building my worth and my net worth but it's not something that I'm like, oh, what's my net worth, 6 figures or $1 million. No, I'm focusing on building better habits daily and weekly that'll set myself up for success financially, so that way I can, eventually later in this year or in the next couple of months, we might be moving to a new apartment. So I gotta start saving up with my partner for that apartment. Or eventually if I wanna get a car, I gotta save up for a car. So how do I do that? By proactively each month looking at my finances and see what areas I can improve on, what habits can I build on, what things I can cut back on that I might not be using, subscriptions, etc. Or impulsive buys, either shopping or eating out, that might not be necessary each month, and it could be toned down a little bit so you can maximize your income and your finances. So that is pretty much the template that I use, and kind of like a quick walkthrough overview of how I manage my finances and how I budget using this template. Like I mentioned earlier, this is not a template that I own. It's something that I purchased off of Etsy, and you can find it in the link down in the description below, and it can help the creator that created this wonderful template that has helped me over the past almost 3 years manage everything in my life as far as finances. I can say confidently that it'll help you as well. If you're looking to get started, this is a great template because it teaches you what everything means by category, gives you a summary, and then you can play around and get used to it. And then eventually you'll start noticing, not good habits that you have with your finances, that once you start budgeting, you can get those in line and then set yourself up for success financially in 2025. All right, hope you enjoyed watching this video. Let me know if this is something that you'd be interested in getting some more videos off. Maybe we can deep dive a little bit more into the budget itself and the spreadsheet, and I can do another video. And let me know if there's any other topics that you might be interested in doing it. I honestly want to get better in finances and managing my budget, and pretty much overall in anything in life. I'm always looking to learn and get better, and anything that comes to mind, I'm putting it out on my channel so that my community can grow and learn as well. So if you feel like any information was useful, make sure to comment it down below. If you think that I might have missed something that might be crucial or important for people to know, put it down below, and then that'll be free game for all of us to set ourselves up for success financially in 2025. Hope you have a blessed weekend. I'll see you in the next one. Much love. Peace.